You enjoyed the movie?
Yeah, I did. Ang ganda, napaka-unpredictable. Talagang ang ganda ng mga ano. It's a huge movie.
Yes, opo.
Okay, gusto ko lang simulan muna natin before this movie. Paano mo sinimulan ang production mo?
Actually, aksidente lang po talaga yung pagsimula ko po ng Glimmer Production Company. So, maraming mga Korean production company gusto mag-shoot dito, and they had a lot of projects that they wanted to implement here. Kaya lang, kulang talaga po sila sa connection when it comes to the Philippines. So, marami po talaga nagre-request sa akin. Kahit hindi ko to ginagawa, marami po nagre-request. So, I said, okay, why don't I put up a company that can actually help Korean production with everything that they need whenever they come to the Philippines. So, after tumulong po ako sa mga Korean production companies sa mga 2 or 3 times, tinayo ko na po yung Glimmer. And then when I put up Glimmer, I saw the opportunity for us to do a lot of licensing, co-production, and distribution. And so I got into it. Although we got into it a year before pandemic po. So imagine, we were supposed to roll out our first project in 2020. Tapos nagka-pandemic po. So we almost closed down our company. But thank God that we were able to sustain because as soon as January of 2022, marami na namang inquiries, flooding with inquiries ang Glimmer dahil ang dami pong mga Korean production na interesado makipag-partnership dito, whether it's co-production or distribution.
So basically, Glimmer is the bridge between the Korean companies and
Well, that's what we hope to achieve through licensing and co-productions as well.
You've been gone on TV. Kasi
Opo.
syempre, nasa TV ka for a
Opo,
long time. Diba?
yes.
So ito ba yung pinag-aabalahan mo?
Actually, nung umalis po ako ng TV, ang pinagkaabalahan ko talaga is F&B, restaurant business.
Okay.
Opo. So I have a couple of restaurant businesses. And
In the
then,
Philippines?
opo, here in the Philippines, dito naman po talaga ako based ever since I was a kid. And so, I started my small restaurant business. It grew a little. And then, same, F&B, tinamaan din ng pandemic. So, it was really difficult pandemic years for, all of us. We were all affected. But thank God that we were able to sustain and we've survived it. So, hopefully, coming back stronger after pandemic, ang Glimmer and also my restaurant businesses.
So this will be the first release ng Glimmer Productions or meron na before?
Nagkaroon na po kami ng The Roundup, which was also the #1 Korean movie at that time, 2 months ago. So lahat po ng movie na pinalabas po namin dito sa Pilipinas, apparently became #1. So we were very fortunate also. And ang ginagawa po ng Glimmer ngayon kasi po is pag pinapalabas na po sa sinehan sa Korea, mga 1 or 2 weeks after, pinapalabas na po namin dito. So halos simultaneous na po tayo.
Wow.
Opo.
Bago talaga.
Opo. So dati po kasi tapos na sa Korea, sa sinehan, tapos parang may pirated na nga online, tapos doon pa lang pinapakita sa sinehan. Kaya walang masyadong movies na nilalabas sa cinemas because there's no merit. Because it's so late. So that's what we're trying to break, that chain. So I was able to deal with big production companies in Korea to allow us to simultaneous screen here in the Philippines. At they were able to trust, we were able to gain their trust. So, ginagawa na po namin ngayon at sunod-sunod na po itong mga ganitong pelikula na magaganda na ipapalabas sa Philippine cinemas.
Grace.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
First, it was roundup, and then have a hunt. How do you choose the films that you parang decide to be screened here?
Oo. Sa Korea kasi, yung mga partners namin, they've been doing this for 15, 20 years. So they're veterans in what they do. Unlike me, I'm a baby company, so I'm actually learning a lot from them. I'm very fortunate to have partners like Laon, L-A-O-N. They are one of the biggest distribution companies, and they're the ones who actually give me synopsis, directors, details about the movies, and they suggest it to me. And so far, so good, because all the suggestions that they've made have made it to become #1 in Korea and also international recognition around the world. Like this hunt, it was also timing kasi na sumikat ang Squid Games. So before, nobody knew in the Philippines who Lee Jong-jae was. Although sa Korea, kilala na namin siya. Kahit nung bata pa ako, kilala na namin siya eh. But because of sudden success of Lee Jong-jae, because of Squid Games, etong directorial debut niya also became a very hot topic around the world. So we're very fortunate to have gained this project for Philippines.
Are you just looking at the Philippines na palalabasin mo ng company mo, or you're looking at a bigger picture, pati international release?
Well, ang pangarap ko talaga through Glimmer is for us to be able to develop through cultural and talent exchange the production level of the Philippines, so that we can make our original Philippine production through the help of Korean production teams' education, and eventually be able to create Filipino content that is recognized worldwide. That is actually my ultimate goal. Opo, so actually, meron na kaming proyektong... Actually, meron po akong proyektong tinapos. Etong June lang po, no? 3 months po siya nag-shoot dito sa Philippines. It's a Korean production involving 200 behind-the-cam Filipino crew and 30 plus on-cam Filipino talent. I cannot disclose it yet.
Here.
We shot here for 3 months. We sold the Philippines. Ako yung talagang nagbenta ng Pilipinas sa mga Korean production houses in Korea na, you know, they always go to Vietnam or Thailand or Hawaii. I always tell them, come to the Philippines. You know, we speak English, our country is beautiful, etc., etc. We have such great talent behind cam and on cam, and so I will be only able to reveal the project once they reveal it in Korea. I cannot reveal it yet, but you will know it because you will see familiar faces on cam in a Korean production.
If you don't mind, ilang percent yung production mo?
70%.
70%. Wow.
In a Korean series.
So it's a series.
It's a series.
You know what? I'm just amazed when you're talking. Kasi parang I'm looking at you, I know you're 100% Korean.
Opo.
Pero napakatalas mo ng Tagalog.
Opo.
And you're more like
Nag-news
a
po ako.
Filipino now.
Nag-news po ako, 'di ba? Kasama ko po si former Secretary Martin Andanar and I were partners in TV5 for the news. So marami talaga akong natutunan sa kanya. Actually, nung nagsimula po ako sa news sa TV5, akala ko ang galing-galing ko mag-Tagalog. Yun pala hindi. Kasi nung nag-news ako, nalaman ko, hindi pala ako magaling mag-Tagalog. Ang daming mga salita na hindi ko alam. But, you know, I grew up here, no? So,
You were 10 years old when you came over.
Opo. So, you know, I truly am what you've coined me for since 15 years ago, that I'm really Koreanong pusong Pinay talaga.
So, na-imbibe mo na talaga pati yung Filipino culture, even the food.
Opo. Dito na po talaga ako. I mean, this is my home.
Your family.
My family's also here. In fact, my sister is the first Korean to become a Filipino doctor, medical doctor in the Philippines.
Oh.
Yes, I'm very proud of her. Sorry?
Older sister.
My younger sister po. So, she's an ER doctor. And
Anong hospital?
emergency medicine po siya.
Where
So,
at?
she's in Manila Doctors and UE. And so, imagine niyo na lang yung hinanakit ang nanay ko nung nagka-pandemic kasi siya yung frontline ng frontliners.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but I'm very proud of her. So, well, if you see a Korean doctor in the ER, that's my sister.
Grace, going back to Glimmer, I believe Glimmer is very diverse and flexible. Apart from film and series production, do you also look into producing other content such as live shows, live production, something like that? Or concerts, perhaps?
There's so many opportunities here in the Philippines, no? Kasi Korea is so ahead of us when it comes to content creation and development, no? So, maraming pong mga Korean partners that I have who are very interested in launching new projects here in the Philippines. My only worry now is to pick the right projects and schedule the right projects that is for the Philippines. So, up until next year, mid-next year, busy-busy ang Glimmer, producing local content together with Korean production and vice versa. We're also doing co-production for Korean productions as well.
Pero what are you excited about this year? Is there something big that Glimmer is preparing for?
So this year, I'm also very excited to announce that we're going to be showing another movie That is, I am sure, going to be number one again. Okay, and this will be the first time in Southeast Asia that Korean actors who are main characters in the movie will be coming to a country to promote their movie. It's never happened in Southeast Asia before, and it's going to happen in the Philippines through Glimmer.
Wow.
It's gonna happen sometime in October. No, not the next movie.
Okay.
The
But I
next
cannot
movie.
disclose yan kasi hindi pa namin napirmahan yung contract, pero nandyan na.
It will be a red
It will be a red carpet, and there will be about 4 very famous Korean actors coming here
exciting.
to promote their movie. Kasi ginagawa po nila yan sa China, Hong Kong, Japan, pero hindi pa nila ginagawa sa Southeast Asia, yung mag-promote po talaga ng movie nila
Not even
by
in
going to the
Singapore?
country. No, we'll be the first in Southeast Asia.
Now my question is there any possibility that you're going to produce a local film in the Philippines featuring local actors to be shown in Korea? The other way around?
Opo, actually plano po namin next year na gumawa ng remake ng isang Korean movie, pero full Filipino cast po siya. Pero yung director po, tsaka yung producer will be Korean. The reason why I'm doing this, and post-production will also be happening in Korea. The reason why I'm doing this is because, as I've said kanina, slowly but surely, I want Korean big names, directors, producers, editors, to teach our local behind-the-cam talents so that the quality of our work also becomes better and better and better. And Glimmer wants to help in that process. So next year nakaplano na po kami full Filipino production, Filipino content, but it will gain a lot of attention in Korea because this is actually a Korean title, and it will be participated by famous Korean director and producer.
What's the ultimate vision of Glimmer?
20 years from now, when I'm a little bit older, I would like to look back and say, Glimmer stood in the center of Philippine content development as it rose from, I would say, years of stagnation. I mean, that is something I envision from maybe 20 years. Yeah.
A visionary.
On the personal
Person.
side,
Opo.
kumusta ka na?
Okay naman
Any
po.
boyfriends?
Boyfriends, S talaga.
With S.
Nako, hindi na ako 20s, tita. Hindi na pwede may S. Kailangan isa lang, no? No, so I'm very happy. So, I met someone and he's great. Non-showbiz.
Filipino?
Yes.
Wow.
When this?
Yeah.
Do we know him?
After the pandemic?
I don't think so. He's very shy.
So this is
For
a
the
quarantine.
pandemic, you met him.
I met him during the pandemic, kaya ang
Pandemic
Sana
boyfriend.
all.
talaga love in the time of pandemic
Oo.
talaga.
Okay.
Sana all, right? Hindi, 6 years naman ako single before pandemic, kaya pagbigyan mo
So you
na
deserve
ako,
that.
no?
6 years. Okay. Can you just give us a little, can you share to us? Kasi syempre, everybody's, I think, curious about your past
Opo.
relationship with the late president.
Opo.
Diba?
Opo.
Can you share us a little about it? Kasi hindi kayo naging open naman, di ba? about it?
Yes. I mean, when he recently passed, of course, I think people were very saddened by his sudden passing. And I think I am with the Filipino people in being very grateful for the kind of president that he was for this country. And when his presidency was over, he really took a back seat, and he retrieved into his old lifestyle of being a supportive Filipino citizen. And so I'm just very grateful, and I thank God that I got the opportunity to get to know him even for a very short period of my life. I will always treasure that, and I will always be honored by the fact that I got to see the human side of our former beloved president. And so, having said that, I wish also our current president the best of luck and blessing, because at the end of the day, God makes presidents, right? And so our role as citizens are to be supportive.
Ano kayo katagal? Marami yung hinayang eh.
No, actually, hindi naman naging kami. We were really dating. We were just dating. And
For the record.
yeah, we were really just dating, and I'm glad I got to know him for that short period. But moving on, I hope I will be also able to get married and have kids. like my friends and relatives. Yung nanay ko, sobrang atat na magkaapo. So I wish that prayer of my mother comes true someday.
Dalawa lang kayo.
Dalawa lang po kami.
Oo. Doktor yung isa, mag-iba talaga kayo.
Opo, mas matagal pa siyang single kaysa sa akin. So sabi nga ng nanay ko, paano parehas kayong ganyan?
So it's about time.
I think so. I mean, I know God would bless me. It's just a matter of time.
Balikan ko lang yung Glimmer. Ikaw lang ba ang may-ari nito or you have partners?
I'm doing this on my own right now. But the only reason I'm able to carry this is because I have great Korean partners in Korea. Meaning they're our partnering companies. Pero yung Glimmer po mismo, I'm a sole proprietor.
Anong ibang plans pa ng Glimmer? After this,
So we have another movie coming up with the actors coming here to promote the movie. So I'm really excited about that. And then we have production that's happening next year, early next year. A co-production for a local film that's going to be headed by some very popular Korean production teams. And many more. Actually, ang daming projects. We have very happy problem now in Glimmer because we have to really pick and choose what we want for the next year or two, long-term goal.
Tatalon lang ako. What did you do during the peak of the pandemic?
During the pandemic, actually, nagkasakit po ako eh. So, not COVID. I wasn't sick with COVID, but I developed cervical slip disc when in 2020, mid-2020. So, I was sick for a while. So, I was mostly home in 2020. And then 2021, medyo I started going out and exploring. It was a good time for me to regroup within myself. Regroup business-wise, personal-wise, faith-wise, everything. So I think pandemic also did a lot of us good. We needed to take a step back and just kind of reassess our lives. So I'm just glad that everything's kind of going back to normal and we can now go to cinemas and watch a movie. So these small things we took for granted makes us happy. So I'm really grateful for that.
Alam mo, it shows ibang glow, di ba?
Yeah.
Ibang ang glow
Kasi
mo
may
ngayon.
boyfriend ka ba?
Di ba?
Kasi may love life,
Teka
ganun ba
muna,
yan?
during the pandemic, was it in 2020 when you met him?
No, yes, we met in the tail end of 2020, and then we started going out a few months after that. So yeah, it's been more than a year, and it's been good.
Is he a businessman?
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow. Mukhang seryoso naman talaga, di ba?
Kailangan na, Rita.
Oo, diba?
Ilan taon na kami?
Kailangan.
Kami pala kasi mas matanda
so,
siya sa
waiting ka
akin.
na
Eh.
lang for the
If he doesn't, nako. Lagot siya sa nanay ko.
You prefer older guys? Kasi you date
Yes, I've never dated a younger man. Yeah. I really do prefer. Kasi even older men, to me, a little bit childish. So, I'd rather date an older guy.
Do you consider yourself relocating back in Korea?
Oh, well, I go back to Korea now often. Kasi nga po,
For
meron
business.
po kami, for business po. So, meron mga projects, so I go to Korea. Pero, to really relocate there and live there, hindi po. Dito talaga.
Ito talaga ang
Opo,
puso.
opo.
Nandito yung puso mo talaga.
Opo.
So you consider yourself a Korean na may pusong Pinoy.
Opo.
Ayun.
She's original.
Oh, di
The
ba?
original.
The original Filipina.
Oh, kasi
Korean.
Sinong nauna sa inyong sumikat ni Sandara Park?
No, Sandara was first. Sandara, high school pa lang ako nun eh, when she joined the reality show,
Yes.
right? But I guess it's because I stayed here continuously kasi for so long, right? And so that's why that term stuck to me for years.
Sino si Grace Lee na hindi alam ng lahat, ng marami?
Grace Lee is not as serious as you think. A lot of people, when they meet me, they think I'm super serious and very strict and very rigid, but I'm not. I like to have fun. I'm very, I'm very easy to get along with. I'm not as stern as people think I am. It's just, I guess it's my face. I have to smile more often.
And that's the kind of culture na ini-introduce mo sa Glimmer.
Sorry?
That's the kind of culture that you introduce in Glimmer.
Yes.
Invite everyone for the
Yes.
movie. And at find in the future?
Okay. I'd like to invite all of you to watch The Hunt. It's been recognized internationally as the #1 movie in Korea right now, and it's finally showing in the Philippines. And I'm glad to say that we've been getting great reviews. So I hope you don't miss it. It's really action-filled and twists and turns everywhere, and you will always be entertained throughout the movie. Abangan po lahat ng mga proyekto namin sa Glimmer because we are here to entertain you with the best of Korean entertainment. See you soon!
Yay.